Hey guys, Joke with the Fool here, coming at you again with another video, and this one is just going to be a general rant on the state of AAA gaming, and I'm titling this, "The Gaming Industry Wants You to Subscribe," because I think this is obvious to anyone who's been following the industry for the past, I'd say 5, probably 6 years at this point, ever since, 2013 when the 8th generation consoles come out. The industry is definitely moving away, at least, the upper echelons, your EA, Activision, Ubisoft, those big companies, from providing you a complete product at launch that you pay, and then you just have it to the ongoing, you get it, later sort of model. And I really think this all started with the escalation of pre-order culture. So back in the day, pre-orders made sense because there was a limited amount of physical copies, and if you wanted to get your copy at launch, you had to pre-order it. So this was a really long time ago. When I was really young, this was when pre-ordering actually meant something. Nowadays, if you want to pre-order, you're pre-ordering to get special bonuses, meaningless cosmetics that no one really cares about. Not under, but in the case of EA, they'll give you with Battlefront 2, it's access to weapons that are end game and sort of break everything. Or with Ubisoft and Division 2, give us $100 before we finish finishing the game so we can play it 3 days early, because that's a good way to spend your money. But so I think pre-order culture is definitely the initial litmus test for the industry to see if gamers were willing to spend more money without really getting much out of for the pre-order bonuses. So, pre-orders most times they don't make sense because, especially for like the standard editions and a lot of the special editions are sort of meaningless. Like limited physical collector editions, those are okay because those are limited prints and you're actually getting some pretty cool physical goodies out of those. But that's not what a lot of gold and uber special editions are. They're just meaningless cosmetic stuff, some digital content. Or maybe the season pass is included in that. And that's the next thing I'm going to get into is the season pass. And now the season pass, you're just paying for the promise of this DLC. You're pre-ordering this content, and then it's basically, give us money, and then you'll get all this content maybe half year later. I don't necessarily, it really depends on, the studio that's doing it, because you can have this model and they can really deliver it. Like with Fallout 4 Bethesda, the way they initially priced their season pass was like $30, and then they provided a decent bit of content. There was just they only did have 2 areas they expanded, and they worked on a lot of workshop stuff with that. But for the most part, that season pass was pretty good. But stuff like Fire Emblem Echoes, its season pass was more expensive than the game itself. Black Ops 4, that season's pass is $50, almost as much as this game, and then they've got microtransactions on top of that. And a game like Black Ops 4 is overly monetized, and it really brings me to what I think is one of the more toxic things, is that these live services, when you're buying a game like Black Ops 4 or even a FIFA or something like Anthem, you're not paying $60 to get that complete game now. You're basically saying, I'm going to make a subscription service and I'll pay the $60 now, and then, here's this roadmap, and a year later you'll get the game that we, actually intend it to be. So, Fallout 76, if you paid $60 for that, you didn't buy the full game. You're paying $60 to get, to pay to test it, and then you're essentially subscribing to this roadmap that you really didn't ask for with that initial purchase. It's, for some games, something like an Overwatch, where it's an online game, it's got the microtransactions in it. The fact that they had a good amount of content at launch, and then they added to that. But with something like Anthem and Fallout 76, those games, both of them, had a woeful amount of content at launch, and now you're expected to just wait and hopefully they patch it to make the game that you actually, to make it worth the $60 you paid for. So that's why I'm saying it's essentially just a subscription. You're subscribing to get that content down the line instead of getting it when you actually paid your money to get it. And this is why I think the industry is ultimately going to move towards being subscription focused. You're seeing it now because with something like Stadia. I'm not sure if Stadia is going to be a subscription service, but the idea that instead of buying your games directly, you're just getting it trickled out to you from one main service. So Stadia could be, free. It could be free with ads, or you could be paying a monthly service for it, like something like Game Pass, which you do get a good amount of value. But Microsoft doesn't really have to focus on making too much. They don't have to focus on making each game as good as possible. They just have to they get some games occasionally, and then they develop something. And as long as you're paying that $10 a month, then there really isn't that much incentive for them to really make too many good games. So there is a lot of good third party stuff on Game Pass, and Origin Access does provide a lot of value to the consumer. But if EA or Microsoft and all these big companies, if they're getting your money on a consistently monthly basis, then they're just going to stagnate. There's no real encouragement for them to go out of your way to try and get your dollar when they're already getting it on a monthly basis, when you're already used to that. And it's going to be the same thing with Apple Arcade. They're probably going to they're going to offer some good stuff at first, and once they have people on board and paying that monthly service, then it's going to be stagnation. It's just it's something like Netflix or Amazon Prime. Do you really see? I mean, there is a good amount of content there, but a lot of it's just low tier garbage. But they know that people will just keep paying month to month because they're used to it. They've gotten that sort of loyalty, and the gaming industry, they want that with Stadia. They want that with Google wants that with Stadia. EA wants that with their subscription service. Apple wants that with Apple Arcade, where it's just this monthly consistent payment that you're making instead of you've got a sea of games that you can buy, and each game has to compete on it being a good game. So bundling all the games into a subscription service really devalues the fact of having to make a good game to really stand out and be worth your time, and most importantly your money. So that is essentially my little rant on the industry here. This is a little bit of a short video, but yeah, I mean, this is what I've been really saying in a lot of my other videos, is that, well, not my other videos, is that there's just so much de-emphasis on making good games, and the fact that EA, Andrew Wilson, when he fired all those employees a few days ago, says we need to focus on our live services, is just proof that this is the mindset of the industry, where they need to need to be focused on getting your money on a consistent basis, because that's what investors want. They want to see that these companies are making money monthly, and they want to see high monthly active user counts, and they aren't going to get high monthly active user counts out of games like God of War or the original Mass Effects or stuff for the Super Nintendo, where you buy it, you play it, and then you have really no reason to come back to it because you feel satisfied with that experience. They want you logging in every day, going to buy these loot boxes for the special 10-day event that they're running, and it's only got a 1% chance of getting the thing that you actually want, so you got to spend hundreds of dollars for it, like we see with the FIFA packs. So that's what it's moving to. So the gaming industry wants you to subscribe in terms of having faith that the roadmaps are actually going to lead to the good games that you paid for months and sometimes years if you pre-ordered the game. They want you to consistently buy the microtransactions, which, I mean, I could rant about that for hours. I think most people already know how scummy they can get. And they want you to subscribe to just straight up subscription services where you're just giving them money to have access to a large pool of games. And when you're paying for that, no one game is really that important anymore. You don't have to, if, Anthem's bad, well, who cares? I've got like hundreds of other games to play with my Premier subscription. Battlefield 5 wasn't that good. Well, I can just play, Titanfall, or I can play Sims, or whatever, the case may be. So that's really it for this video. It was just sort of off the cuff rant. Didn't really have too much to say, but I'll see you in the next video.